Football has the Super Bowl, baseball has the World Series. And in the sport of off-road racing, it is the Score Presidente Baja 1000. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, working alongside with Jerry Garrett. And Jerry, people may or may not be familiar with the sport of off-road racing around the country, but it seems like everybody knows about the Baja.
Well, it has international fame, and deservedly so. This is a rough, tough, mean race, and if you've won the Baja, you can really say something, and that's attracted every serious racer in the country to this event.
3 major points championships are at stake today, as well as some of those international teams being here for the first time.
Well, since it does attract such interest all over the world, we're not surprised to see people here from 6 different countries, including a team from Russia this time.
We also have an all-female team in Class 14.
Now, the course the competitors will be facing this weekend starts here in Ensenada and then heads across the peninsula toward the Gulf of California.
About a third of the way along, it turns south and makes a loop from Borrego down to San Rafael, and then through the Matomi Wash. Northward, it goes into San Felipe and back through Borrego before turning west again. Back across the mountains to Camalu, and then north to the finish line in Ensenada. Total distance, 704 miles.
And this is the streets of Ensenada, Mexico, Avenida Lopez Mateos, normally a main thoroughfare, but home today for Contingency Row. And here's those 2 women that Jerry mentioned earlier, Ginny Commander and Parker Gentry, a pair of magazine executives from New York City. They've tried skydiving, big game hunting, and now they're ready to tackle the Baja. Here's Jerry with Ginny and Parker.
One of the interesting teams that will be competing in the Baja 1000 is this team, comprised of Ginny Commander and Parker Gentry. And Ginny, how did you guys get involved in this race?
Well, we always wanted to drive an off-road race. The Paris-Dakar was really our dream. The Baja 1000 happened as a result of meeting Woody Haynes. He's a PR director at Ford Motor Company. And we sort of convinced him that it was a good idea to have Parker and I were driving this thing, and he kept going, oh, yeah, sure, you know. Said, no, really, Woody, it's true, we should. And he goes, yeah, sure. And then some friends of ours who were also outdoor riders said, no, Woody, they're serious. So, and then he went back to Detroit and figured it was a good idea. So it just sort of happened very spontaneously.
Parker, let me ask you what your feeling has been about your experience out here in the desert so far. Have you enjoyed it?
Oh, we have immensely. We found out it's a lot tougher than we ever imagined. It's going to be very hot, very long, and we're going to be doing most of our driving at night because we're in the Class 14 division, which starts way back in the pack. So I think about 14 hours will be in the dark for us. So it's been a good thing that we pre-ran the race course. We know it. We know which turns to take so we don't get lost. We pre-ran with Rod Hall, and he showed us what race speed should be for us. Hopefully we won't hurt the truck, and we can last a duration.
Well, the truck they're driving will be a Ford Bronco built by Darrell Jacques. He's the former crew chief for Class 8 champion Dave Schaaf.
In all, more than 225 cars, trucks, and buggy are on hand for this race, which was held the first time in 1967.
So get ready. When we come back, we'll be hitting the Baja 1000. Fasten those seatbelts.
You'll find it at the heart of every Dodge machine competing today. It's on the track and off the road. It's the new spirit of performance.
The new spirit of Dodge! The new spirit of Dodge!
In auto racing, the big Q stands for quality. In Quaker State's 11,000 RPM Porsche-powered Indy car. In Ricky Rudd's 625 horsepower high-torque V8. These great racing engines demand the great name in motor oil. Quaker State with QSX, proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
And the Quaker State that protects all these engines on the track is the same oil you buy right off the shelf.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Bob Strange, B.F. Goodrich test engineer.
All week long, I test tires. But on weekends, I drive race cars. In some ways, tire testing is just as tough. Comparing one tire with another takes precision driving. I believe TA Radios are the best performance tires in the world. And I punish them to keep them that way.
B.F. Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform. Was it live or new HBS2?
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett back with you at the Score Presidente Baja 1000, and this is an aerial view of the harbor here in Ensenada. The main industries are fishing, shipbuilding, and tourism, and now we're looking down the starting line where the contestants have already started to assemble.
Car number 109 is the new mid-engine Toyota of Ivan the Iron Man Stewart, who would love a victory here to redeem a disappointing season.
And the first car off that starting line will be the number 201, the team of Wally Schwea, senior and junior, in a VW-powered Almy two-seater. Now, they've got the green flag, and the 1988 Presidente Baja 1000 is underway. And you can see we've got a pretty good crowd early in the morning here in the streets of Ensenada.
Number 200 is the Porsche-powered Chenoweth, the defending unlimited two-seater champion Corky McMillan, with Brian Ewalt riding along shotgun. The drivers will run the first 25 miles of this course rally style. They'll have an hour to negotiate a congested mountain road between here and Ojos Negros, but from that point on, they're on the clock all the way. They'll have 26 hours to complete the race.
Well, that was the team of Mike Lund and Buzz Combe in a Chenoweth VW-powered machine. And here's the 216 team of Bob Gordon and Frank Arciero Jr., and that's Butch Arciero at the wheel for the start of this race. A Chevrolet-powered Chenoweth two-seater, and this is one of 3 Gordon Racing entries in today's event. Well, here's another car from the Gordon stable, number 220, a Chenoweth VW driven by Malcolm Smith and Tim Crabtree.
Malcolm, of course, is the world-famous motorcycle rider featured in the movie On Any Sunday. He spent an early part of this year racing for 3 weeks in the Paris-Dakar Rally. Rod Hall looks fairly relaxed as he chats with co-driver Jim Fricker. And so does Jack Johnson up ahead of him, who's driven this revolutionary Nissan King Cab to 3 victories this season. Whoever finishes in front gets the title for the season.
Viewers can't see it, but your right leg is vibrating. Are you as nervous as you appear from the waist down? Because from the waist up, you look pretty cool.
No, I stay pretty relaxed, really. I'm always a little fidgety on the starting line, but basically pretty relaxed and going over the course in my mind and stuff just to know exactly where everything is, what I'm going to do, thinking pit strategy and stuff. But I'm really pretty calm. I've been at this a long time.
That right leg will just push that pedal faster, right?
That's it. It'll twitch just down a little bit further, make it go a little faster.
Good luck, Jack.
Thanks, Marty. Talk to you at the finish.
Now here's number 100, defending unlimited single-seat champion Mark McMillan in another Chenoweth Porsche from the family's potent stable of those vehicles.
Oh, boy, do they know how to drive the Baja Desert as well. And here's the Iron Man, number 109. Truck builder Cal Wells borrowed a lot of ideas from Toyota's IMSA cars while planning this truck, which debuted in the Baja Internacional back in June. And Ivan Stewart is underway, a big favorite down here in Mexico.
Now here's the first of the Class 8s, number 801, Steve Kelly, the American Racing Chevrolet, with crew chief Terry Caldwell sharing the ride.
And he's getting on it pretty quickly. 802, Parker 400 winner Steve McEachern. He is 3rd in the Class 8 points battle, but he will need an awful lot of luck to win the overall championship today. And here's Frank Scoop Vessels with co-driver John Nelson.
Scoop is 15 points behind Robbie Gordon, and he knows that he really needs a win here to keep his hopes alive.
Now, Scoop is going to be starting in front of Robbie Gordon. In fact, right behind him is this man, Robbie, the guy in the catbird seat.
He's got crew chief Russ Wernemont running shotgun in that 66 Ford. And he knows that if Scoop wins, he has to finish at least 3rd to keep that title.
And that's not a typical start for Robbie Gordon. He's out a little sluggishly. I don't know if there's anything wrong, but we'll keep a tab on it. Number 800 is Dave Schopp, the 1987 Series champion in the General Tire Ford.
He's getting on it.
That's for sure. And then 401 as we move into Class 4. This is the big battle. Jack Johnson will be the first off the line. You can see right behind him, lurking, is going to be Rod Hall. This is going to be one of those interesting battles.
Rod likes to start behind Jack so he can keep him in his sights and know how far he has to catch up to him.
Well, there he is, the 4-time defending class champion. He will not relinquish it without a battle. And here's number 403, Jerry McDonald in the AC Delco Chevrolet. He's still got an outside chance of... wait a minute, look at that, Jerry. Something fell off the back of the truck.
We're not sure what that is, but it definitely was not supposed to happen. Number 701, Roger Mears takes off now in the Budweiser Nissan. And right behind him, number 702, Larry Ragland in the General Tire Chevrolet. He leads Manny Esquera by 11 points.
And again, Ragland's going to be in front of Esquera, so Manny's going to have Larry in his sights in the Coors Motorcraft Ford Ranger. It has carried him to 3 straight class titles, and he is underway here at the Baja Presidente 1000. And from above, you can now get a look at one of the 2 Russian entries, a Nissan 4-wheel drive driven by Alexei Grigorev and Bob Utgard. He's a Los Angeles County fireman who spent almost 2 years putting this effort together. Stay with us. We'll be following the joint Russian-USA team and all the other competitors at the Presidente Baja 1000.
It was just a minor accident. They checked you at the scene. You were sure the aches would go away. Now you suffer with neck pain, back pain, and headaches. Sometimes even a minor accident can cause injuries which may not be noticed immediately.
Why live needlessly with pain? After any car accident, call for an immediate examination. We accept all auto insurance as payment in full.
We really do care about you and your family's health. Call us at Hemet Family Chiropractic today. Your health is my concern.
It's Hollywood Hair, the salon where every customer is treated like a star. Let Ann and Lisa, along with their friendly professional staff, create the ultimate you. Whether it's perms, coloring, highlights, or European hair braiding, you'll look and feel like a star. Hollywood Hair exclusively features a full line of Wella natural hair care products. Full manicures, pedicures, and silk wraps. Waxing for legs, eyebrows, and facial hair, plus personalized makeup. Hollywood Hair has everything to make your star shine. Located in Harvard Street, Old Town, Hemet.
It's the only event in the world that brings all 4 major tours together in team competition. The Kieran Cup World Championship of Golf. Saturday afternoon at 5 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett back with you at the Score Presidente Baja 1000, and that's Manny Esquera on course. He's won 3 races this season, but it has not been the kind of year that he is accustomed to. He told us about it before the start of today's race.
All year we've had our share of problems, and this year I think we had our share, and the other guys haven't had their share, so it's their turn to have a little bit of problems. I think we're going to clean house tomorrow. We're going to have a good day.
You ran basically this whole course last year, and obviously you conquered it. Is there anything new out there at all?
There's a few changes out there. We've had some rains here, and the course, the rocks have grown a lot bigger. But the Coors Motorcraft Ford Ranger is going to get out there and just dominate, because we got the best suspension there is right now in the market, I think.
Well, Manny Esquera, very confident coming into this race, into the early going, and now you're looking from inside the cab of Roger Mears Budweiser Nissan. This is our Bosch in-car camera, and we are heading down the road fast, Jerry.
This is the road heading out of Ojos Negros toward the Pine Forest and El Rayo Junction, which is the first really testing part of the course. This is just nice, fast running here with almost no dust and no traffic. There's a lot of these types of roads awaiting the competitors today, but there are some rough sections too. But compared to a Mint 400 or a Nevada 500, this course is almost a drag strip.
Speeds up to 100+ miles an hour in this stretch, right?
At least, and there's a couple of gotchas out here, a cattle crossing or two to really get you up in the air like right there.
Well, that was the 201 of Wally Schwea, senior and junior. And here's the Barbary Coast entry of Bud Feldkamp and Ron Gardner. That's a Chenoweth with Chevrolet power. And here comes Ivan Stewart.
You can see now that the crowd gathered along the course here is waiting for something to happen, and you can see why, because the drivers really take some air right here.
Yeah, there's a rule of thumb that anytime you see the crowd, stay alert, because that's Steve Kelly. You can see how much air that he catches, and that's what the crowd's looking for. Now here is 802. That's Steve McEachern in another Chevrolet.
His only hope of winning the title, Marty, is to win the race and hope that Scoop Vessels finishes no better than 4th and that Robbie Gordon essentially drops out.
Well, here is Frank Scoop Vessels coming off a win at the Nevada 500, trying to make it 2 in a row and not holding back on the throttle.
Well, here comes one of the competitors, Frank and Jim Manka, and it looks like they've got a problem here. They're pulling off the course and getting ready to climb out, I think, and it looks like they'll be here for a while because there doesn't seem to be much haste on their part to get out and investigate the problem.
Maybe something that they just don't have a part for. That's one of the problems of off-road desert racing, because once you're out there, you're on your own, and you've got to be able to fix it or get on the radio and get somebody out to you to be able to fix it. And they were looking underneath on the front end. Well, here is 805. That's Robbie Gordon, and Listen to that. That's Robbie's engine, and that does not sound very healthy, Jerry.
Well, we have a report that right off the start line, Robbie may have over-revved the engine and tapped a valve.
Well, remember, he did not go off too well, and that's Jack Johnson flying by, and he is motoring very well in Class 4.
Well, Rod Hall's not giving him a lot of breathing room there.
Boy, there's another motor that doesn't sound real good.
Yeah, it might not be the right pitch for that one either, but Jerry McDonald's moving right along, it sounds like. He's going to be moving into a mini truck next season.
Once again, we're back inside with Roger Mears and our Bosch in-car camera. Look at the air that he catches there along the road and running trouble-free.
Now, that's another hazard that you have to be aware of in Mexico, Marty, that the roads that the course traverses are open to the public, and the area is dotted all along with small homes and ranches.
Well, it does not appear to be any problem for Larry Ragland. He went flying by, and likewise Russ and Luke Jones in the 703, looking very strong in the early going.
Another surprisingly strong early runner, number 717, Ernesto and Alfredo Arambula in a Mitsubishi.
And there's the 700. That's Manny Esquera, and he is still flying along in Class 7. And Scoop Vessels has that Chevrolet working nicely so far, and we're sure he's got his fingers crossed too, because any sort of problem could end his title bid today. The pressure has got to be enormous. He has to win this event and hope that Robbie Gordon finishes 4th or worse for him to claim the championship. And speaking of Robbie, there he is.
Well, he's still motoring along, even though that engine doesn't sound quite like it should. He's not pushing it at this point, though, either.
Well, here's a helicopter view of Rod Hall fishtailing around a turn and heading up into the pine forest. Now, this is one of the prettier parts of the course and also one of the more demanding. And Rod's hoping the varied terrain and the length of the race will work in his favor today.
We're kind of looking forward to this race, and it's a good race for us to come down to a points chase, because with Jack Johnson's lighter, more nimble car, you know, if we was facing up at a Fireworks 250, it'd be really tough for us to run him. But down here in Mexico, puts the odds kind of even and maybe a little bit on our side, because I tell you, this old BF Goodrich Dodge has proven to be a pretty tough truck. Takes a lot of abuse, and 700 miles, you know, down here kind of weeds out a lot of guys that aren't ready.
Well, no one's ever accused Rod of not being ready. He's one of the best at conserving his equipment and having something left when it gets to the finish line.
We're back inside now with Roger Mears again. He's heading up into the pine forest, and the road ahead of him is still smooth, but it's starting to wind around a little bit, get a little narrow.
And that requires a little feathering on the gas pedal. We're going to feather our way right on out of here, but stay with us. Back with more of the Presidente Baja 1000 in just a minute.
Will your new car outlive your new car loan? Add STP's new Supra Wear Control to your oil to help reduce wear and help your engine last longer, to protect your investment down the road. Buy STP Supra Wear Control now and save half off the purchase price.
From now on, this is what dry is. Dry is a beer that starts bold from the first taste, finishes clean with no aftertaste, and refreshes completely. Dry is a beer called Michelob Dry. One taste, and you'll drink it dry.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality.
We engineer quality into every drop of Quaker State motor oil. Only Quaker State has QSX, an advanced formula proven to run clean for unbeatable protection from wear and tear.
Before our oil's good enough for your car, we prove that it works in our car.
Quaker State quality. We don't just talk about it, we live by it.
Quaker State, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett back with you at the Score Presidente Baja 1000, and that's another aerial view of Frank Scoop Vessels, and we found out now that the 804 Chevrolet has moved into the class lead, Jerry.
Well, it actually doesn't mean too much right now to be in the lead, Marty, because the real racing really doesn't start until about 200 miles into this race. Right now, you're just feeling out your vehicle.
Trying to get some sort of rhythm, but I'll guarantee you the pressure that those two guys are feeling the whole season. They have to win today. This is the 216. That's Frank Arciero Jr. at the wheel. They are currently running up front in Class 2, as is this man, Malcolm Smith, keeping the pressure on his teammate.
And not far behind, moving up through the pack now, number 100, Mark McMillan, running extremely well.
And this is Larry Ragland making his way around one of the many gates and cattle guards that the drivers encounter. His only concern today is Manny Oscara. And earlier, we talked to him about his race strategy for today.
I think I'm going to try to go out reasonably slow and just hope that he doesn't pass me. And hopefully he won't want to race too hard for a while. And then if it comes down to it toward the end of the race, the last couple hundred miles, I'm sure if we're running together, then it's going to turn into a race then. Hopefully we won't have to, but that's what'll end up happening.
Well, Roger Mears is odd man out in this poor situation.
Well, he'd love to steal the victory away from these two guys while they're keeping an eye on each other. That salvaged something of a bad year for him. He's only had one victory all year.
I gotta tell you, our in-car camera is really functioning well today, even though those bright sunbursts are not totally distorting the picture. And we're getting, whoa, look at this. You talk about running into some problems along the way. Now, it shows just how alert you've got to be, Jerry. I mean, he came right up on that buggy, and it was almost blindsided.
He, I noticed, helped him nudge that thing over a little bit when he went by there.
Well, I guarantee you, I'd be pushing a lot quicker if I heard somebody bearing down on me. Meanwhile, what's this? We have got a jam-up of some kind. This reminds me of the Nevada 500. If you were with us for that race, you'll remember how much trouble a hill just north of Beatty caused in that race, and it looks like we've got a similar situation here.
Well, this is a detour that Scores had to put in to try and detour some traffic around this area. Looks kind of like a picnic campground on July 4th down there.
That was Rod Hall, and he has actually turned around and is looking for another way to go. And here's one of the reasons that nobody's going anywhere.
Well, it's really silty right here, Marty, and there's a traction problem, and if one car gets stuck, then everybody behind him gets stuck.
Well, that was Duke Perrin and Mark Smith that were stuck, and here's Rod Hall not waiting to see what happens. He's getting it turned around again, and he's heading back down the course. Now, it looks as though he's slowing down. Well, no wonder. He's got another Class 4 entry. That's Tim Pruitt and Ken Conrad, and it's safe to say they're wondering where Rod is going. Meanwhile, let's go back inside with Roger Mears as he is approaching this mess as well.
Now, you can see not much of the course reveals itself to you at a time from the driver's standpoint, so you're just kind of picking your way blindly here through the pine trees. You can't get off the course, or you'll tear your vehicle to smithereens. And when you got a vehicle stopped up in front of you like this, you've just got to stop yourself.
He has finally hit the jam up that we were talking about, and we've got a great advantage from the helicopter. And meanwhile, look at this. This is Rod Hall blazing a new trail. He has found a way, and look who is tagging along for the ride. Larry Ragland following the four-wheel driver Rod Hall. Very smart driving on his part. Now, here we are back at the hill where Roger Mears is waiting to get up, and apparently, from our lack of audio, maybe our audio connection has been disconnected, but at least we'll still have the pictures for this, Jerry.
Well, Roger's just got to sit here and wait and see if these guys up ahead of him can get going through this silty area. He's going to make a run at it, too. He's moving again. The dust is clearing a little bit, and he'll be able to tell whether he's going to be able to get past there, right through that silty area that's so hard to get traction. Remember, he's only got two-wheel drive. Some of the guys with four-wheel drive can just go smoking right up the course here.
And not only do you have the dust, you've got the sun in your face, but Roger Mears makes it, and here is the 703, Russ and Luke Jones. They're making it up and over the hill as well. Duke Perrin was the man scrambling to get out of the way, and whoa, looks like Ivan Stewart has been forced to make an unscheduled pit stop.
Well, we don't know the reason for the stop, but he's getting underway again now, and everything looks to be okay.
Well, the 109 Toyota back underway. And meanwhile, Frank Scoop Vessels just continues to sail along totally in control. You know, at times, Robbie Gordon looks like he's on the edge, and Scoop says that could be a factor.
I think he is flat out, but, you know, he's young, and he's really done a good job this year. He's learned a lot, so I'm not going to put that in my back pocket. I'm just going to go out and try to race my race as I see fit and come back a winner. And then it's kind of out of my hands, unfortunately. I don't like that, but at this point, there's nothing you can do. But I need to go out and run my race, let him charge if he wants, let him hang back if he wants, do the best job I can do, and come back a winner for my sponsors and myself. And then we'll see how the championship goes.
You know, the worst thing that can happen is for a number of vehicles to drop out, because the more vehicles there are, the better chance Robbie would have of finishing fourth or worse. Speaking of Robbie Gordon, he's coming in on Walker Evans.
Well, Walker's obviously not running right because we already know that Robbie's engine is not running up to full strength.
Well, stay with us as those two sort of nudge each other along the way. We'll be back with more of the Score Presidente Baja 1000. But first, this.
With an 8-foot bed, South Dakota is all work. With a 3.9-liter V6, North Dakota is all play. The unique mid-size Dodge Dakota. 2 pickups for the price of 1.
The new spirit of Dodge. Tough new spirit of Dodge.
BF Goodrich Update 14 with Bob Strange, test engineer. Subject, racing dynamics.
Often tires can be the deciding factor in a race, but they must be made to work in conjunction with the suspension and aerodynamics of the car. Here to explain further is team owner Jim Busby.
There are many factors that will determine how well the modern-day racing car will get its power to the ground. We use tires as a tuning device. We also have adjustments for caster, camber, toe-in, toe-out, and ground clearance that will also help that in performance. We can use chassis rake and a combination of wing angles to determine the aerodynamic downloading on the car. By changing any one of these devices or adjustments, we're capable of changing the handling characteristics radically on the car.
Thanks, Jim. Racing in cars such as this, and under these widely varying conditions, helps us to bring you a better high-performance tire.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your car perform.
It's Bowl Week on ESPN. The All-American Bowl featuring the Florida Gators against the Fighting Illini. The SeaWorld Holiday Bowl with Heisman Trophy winner Barry Sanders leading Oklahoma State against high-scoring WAC champion Wyoming. And the Mazda Gator Bowl, a showdown between Georgia and Michigan State in the only bowl game on New Year's Day. It's a bowl bonanza, live on ESPN.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett with you back at the Score Presidente Baja 1000, and that is defending four-wheel drive mini truck champion Mike Leslie in the Stroh's Jeep Comanche. He's in front in the class and on the verge of wrapping up another title. In fact, let's try and tap in on his radio frequency as we talk from him in the helicopter down to the race course.
2BC ESPN to Mike Leslie, truck 750. Do you copy?
Go ahead, this is Mike.
Mike, looks like you're one of the survivors from the Pine Forest. How are things going?
Real good. We got through the bad parts. I think the people are stuck back in the Pine Forest. The bad parts is just really fast, and the dust is pretty bad.
Looks like you got your hands full right now, closing in on a couple of buggies. Are you, by your calculations, where you want to be? With you having the lead, would you back out of the throttle, or are you just going to stay in it and maintain this current pace that you're running? We'll let you get back to work. We'll talk to you later.
So Mike Leslie is going to go all out for the Mini Medal Championship and not hold back. And Jerry, let's take another look at the map now.
Well, the leaders have cleared the area known as the Summit, Marty, and they're now turning south towards the Borrego Loop.
And this is number 200, Corky McMillan. We have him as the overall race leader at this point. He is coming into that area at Borrego where a number of the teams have set up their pits.
Well, interestingly enough, Marty, a lot of the teams co-opt their pits. They all pit in the same area, but the McMillans stay off to themselves, and I guess you can't argue with their strategy because they win this race all the time.
Well, this should be a routine stop. Tires at most, a little bit of fuel, and coming in right behind McMillan is Frank Arciero Jr. in the number 216.
Well, that's Cal Wells Jr. riding along shotgun with Frank, and they're one of the teams that pit, like we said, in a co-op with a bunch of other teams. They're coming into the BFG main pit here, and that's the team owner, Bob Gordon, checking with the drivers.
Yeah, he's leaning in and giving instructions to Cal Wells Jr. And meanwhile, this is the number 100 car of Mark McMillan. Now, oh, here's something that's not wanted at any time. Two cars at the same pit at one time.
Well, the team strategy here, we understand, Marty, is to have Corky stay out in front and Mark kind of protect his flank as he goes through here. And I think that they have separate crews for both cars, and they should be okay at this point.
Well, I'm starting to wonder if that is more than a routine stop for Corky McMillan, because there goes the 216 of Frank Arciero beating McMillan out and taking over the race lead at this point. And yes, both cars are still in the pit, so you've got to wonder if Dad is in trouble, because there goes Mark McMillan.
There is a problem because Mark's taken off. He's in front of his dad, and that goes against the team strategy right there.
So Mark McMillan now carries the hopes of the McMillan family in the overall battle as they leave Borrego. And here is Evan Evans, Walker's son.
Well, Evan goes past a broken down vehicle there. That's Jerry McDonald, and from the look of all that fluid underneath the truck there, he's got some problems. Let's go down to Marty, who's got a chance to talk with Jerry about what's wrong.
Jerry, what's happened?
Well, it looks like we've had a transmission problem. It just coming down the road here, it just quit. We don't have anything at all, no forward or reverse gears. The engine's still running, torque converter's turning over, but it's not going anywhere.
Is this going to put you out of it for the day? You think you'll be able to get it fixed, get back into it?
No, I think we're going to fix it. We've already got a hold of our crew on the radio. They're working their way back in here right now, and they do have a transmission.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So with major troubles for Jerry McDonald, we're down to a duel between Jack Johnson and Rod Hall in Class 4.
And meanwhile, trouble for Corky McMillan. They do have problems on that left rear. Meanwhile, let's go airborne and talk to Mark McMillan.
ESPN to Mark McMillan. We're right above you, Mark. Can you copy?
10-4, I got a copy.
By our calculations, you're certainly out in front in Class 1 and may have the lead overall. How are things going?
It's going real good. I had a little bit of dust off the start. Started second class in the middle, but we're going along just fine.
Have you had any downtime? We noticed the pit stop and had a chance to talk with your father. They're having some problems right now.
Yeah, they're fixing a wheel bearing, but I haven't had any downtime, and things are looking real good. The gauges look good, no flats.
This is your specialty. I mean, you've won this event before. You know how to run these courses. Are you into a very comfortable pace, or will you back out a little bit more?
No, this is the pace it's going to take to win. And I'm going to go out to win this race or nothing, because I got the points championship wrapped up already, so I'm going to go and win this one.
We'll check back with you later. Good luck.
Well, it looks like Mark McMillan is serious about his endeavor to win this race now that his father is in some serious trouble with a bearing problem. Now, back in the B.F. Goodrich pit at Borrego, and where did Scoop Vessels go?
Right through the pit, Marty. I think that was deliberate. He seems to be trying to make it with one less fuel stop than anyone else. Let's find out. Marty's up in the helicopter. Let's talk with John Nelson about that strategy.
2BC ESPN to John Nelson. Do you copy?
Yeah, sure do. Go ahead.
John threw us a bit of a curveball. We were waiting for you to stop at the last pit area, and you guys just zipped on past. Little secret strategy going on?
Well, yeah, something like that.
You're going to let our viewers in on the little secret, what you're going to try and pull off?
Well, we're going to do this thing in 4 stops rather than 5 like everybody else.
How are you able to get such good gas mileage?
Well, we just have a big gas tank.
So when will your next stop be, so we'll be able to be there?
Well, our next stop will be at Potomac Junction, provided we don't run out of gas at Potomac Wash.
So in other words, your calculations, you're cutting it kind of thin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, good luck. We'll be watching.
Well, Robbie Gordon is not throwing the pit crew any curveballs. He's pulling in, and that engine is still not right, even though he is running second. And the crew goes working. Whoops, he is now running third because Steve Kelly just goes zooming by.
Well, Robbie's out of the truck, and he really doesn't seem too happy. And I guess from the way that motor sounds, we can understand why. The hood's off, and they're going to try and figure out what is wrong.
Well, that's team owner Jim Venable talking to Robbie while the crew changes the spark plugs and/or the spark plug wires. Let's see if we can get a word with Robbie Gordon.
You got some problems? What happened?
Yeah, Walker ran to the back of me doing about 80. That's really cool.
How's the engine? Looks like you had a plug wire off.
Yeah, something seriously wrong. You know, we're down low horsepower, running 10 mile an hour up the washes. Disappointment.
Boy, I tell you, I can't remember seeing Robbie quite so disconsolate all season long, but right now he can see that championship slipping away because of factors that he can't control. Stay with us. We're back with more after this.
Will your new car outlive your new car loan? Add STP's new Supra Wear Control to your oil to help reduce wear and help your engine last longer to protect your investment down the road. Buy STP Supra Wear Control now and save half off the purchase price.
The Matchmaker. Now you meet people from all over the United States.
Hi, I'm Lori. I just moved to Denver. If you like to ski, give me a...
I want to meet a girl who likes to hike and fish and would like to spend her summers in Montana.
I travel a lot, so I'd like to meet someone who enjoys...
I live in Los Angeles. I love to go to concerts and I like to go dancing.
Call now 1-900-909-6282. You make the choice. $2 for the first minute, 45 cents each additional minute.
Ricky Rudd talks about Quaker State with QSX.
If you're like me, you want your engine to perform. You want it to run clean, and you don't want sludge. That's why you and I both need Quaker State with QSX.
QSX keeps dirt particles in suspension, so they're trapped in your oil filter instead of sludging up your engine.
No other oil runs cleaner or fights sludge better. And the Quaker State I use in my car is the same oil you can buy right off the shelf for your car.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett back with you at the Score. Presidente Baja 1000 and Robbie Gordon about to get underway again, Jerry.
Well, Marty, we understand he's had some engine problems, but everything else is in good shape, and it looks like Bob Bowers is taking over as co-driver for him there.
Meanwhile, up top again with the number 401 Nissan of Jack Johnson. Now, that rear fender has been chewed up a little bit.
Well, Jack's known for his hard driving style, and I know he's probably come to grief with one of the other competitors, or maybe one of those trees up in the pine forest. He lost a drive shaft coming off the summit, though, we understand. Lost about 45 minutes there. We've got him about 25 minutes down to Rod Hall right now.
Well, he runs 2,000 pounds less than Rod Hall. It's been a controversial class ever since this truck came into being. But right now, Jack Johnson running for the chance for a championship if he can beat Rod Hall today in this competition at the Score Presidente Baja 1000. And here is Rod Hall. Found some way up and over the hill, as we saw earlier, but it looks like he had to get a spare tire off the rack and back underway.
Well, they also added a little oil to the crankcase there.
Rod tightened up the points battle considerably with his win at the Nevada 500 last time out. You know, he's been one of the most vocal critics of the Nissan, and he'd obviously take great pleasure in spoiling that team's season while putting the Dodge in first place overall.
Well, he's been promising us all season a new pickup truck to counter that Nissan, but we haven't seen it, and he's not saying when we will now.
Well, coming in now is the Ford Bronco of Ginny Commander and Parker Gentry. Now, they said their goal before the race was just to finish, which is admirable because it is tough to complete the Baja 1000. And so far, it looks like they're having a little trouble finding their pit, but now they're getting directions, and this looks like it will be a routine pit stop, Jerry.
Well, the Bronco sounds good, and there's no marks on it or any problems. They still got their spare tire. It looks all right.
Well, let's find out how the girls are dealing. Let's talk to Parker Gentry.
How you doing, man? Oh, good. It's just it's so much slower than when we pre-ran it because all these cars have gone through, and it's just we really now have to take our time just to preserve the truck.
Yeah. Can't go
So we're
fast.
not getting anywhere near the times we were when we were pre-running.
Well, it looks like crew chief Daryl Jacques is replacing one of the front shocks on the truck before sending the women back out on their way.
Did you notice it didn't look like there was any dust on her face? I mean, they're doing very well, folks, guarantee it. Now, this is the 347 Nissan. That's Alexeyev Grigorev of the Soviet Union and veteran U.S. racer Bob Utgard.
Now, as we mentioned earlier, Bob has spent almost 2 years making this team happen. It looked like the Soviets would not be here up until just a few weeks ago.
Well, the Soviets don't speak any English, but we had a chance to talk to Bob Utgard about the effort.
On the one hand, this took a long time to put together. On the other hand, you almost ran out of time to put it together, I guess.
Yeah, we really did. Putting all the sponsorship people together and getting these trucks together. We only had 45 days to build 2 trucks. And, you know, normally to build a truck of this caliber takes at least 4 or 5 months per truck. And I just want to say that my crew did a heck of a job getting them together. We've got 2 good Nissans, and we've got a heck of a team here with the Russians and the Americans that we're going to be driving with.
Well, hats off to Bob Utgard and the team for putting both Nissans together. This is the second half. The brothers Nikolai and Igor Bolshik driving. The brothers are rally champions in Russia, and Grigorev is normally a circle track driver.
Well, it looks like Parker Gentry and Ginny Commander are getting ready to go back out on the course. One of the people watching their departure is a young man who didn't expect to be here as a spectator. Marty is with Ivan to see what happened.
I'm sorry to see you here. I'm sure a lot of fans are. What happened?
Well, we put new fuel injection on the truck. It's electronically controlled, Marty, and it's just getting hot. It's just too much heat for the system. We have to move the system away from the headers, I think, is a problem. And we're running out of the brains, actually. There's no more brains for the truck, so we got to stop.
Well, it looks like Scoop Vessels had enough gas to make it to Matomi Junction because he's back here now at Borrego with no apparent problems. Let's eavesdrop with Frank D'Angelo at the BFG pit about what's going on.
Yeah, there's only 2 cars on the road in front of you, Mark McMillan and Bob Gordon. But they got probably about a 10 to 15-minute lead physically.
Well, you can see that Scoop Vessels is getting a cool down, and there's John Nelson orchestrating the pit stop. Scoop says one of the real keys for the team this year has been the work of the pit crew, which got him out in less than a minute all day long back at the Nevada 500, and here they go again, back out underway. So Scoop Vessels in the lead in Class 8, and here's the man that's got to finish 3rd or better, and it is Robbie Gordon. We show him 4th in class right now.
Well, that's just 1 position lower than he needs to be, so he's got to turn it up just a notch.
Well, you can see the clouds and the darkness starting to come in, and when we come to darkness, well, we come to lights, and that means a time for a quick fact, and Jerry has the details. Quick facts are brought to you by Quaker State. Big Q stands for quality, always has, always will.
The Baja 1000 is the race where lighting is really going to come into play because more than half of the race is going to be run at night. Now, although this vehicle has stock headlights alone aren't going to do it. Now, in the front of this vehicle is a light bar. This one has 5 lights. Some may have 4, some may have 6. But all these lights may look the same, but they do have different functions. This light, with its fluted lens, is a fog light, and it sprays out along the ground in front of the vehicle. It only has a range of about 1/4 mile. Now, while the fog light may only have a range of 1/4 mile, this one can shoot out as far as 4 miles in front of the vehicles. This is a pencil beam, and it can do that because it has a clear lens rather than a fluted lens. But what this all means is that a vehicle running in the Baja 1000 can race almost as fast at night as it can in the daylight.
And darkness is fast approaching. Stay with us. We'll be back. Lights on at the Score Presidente Baja 1000.
Ho, ho, ho! It's Santa Gosh and his brand new sleigh from Jack Gosh Ford Lincoln Mercury. Santa Gosh says now's the best time ever to buy a brand new car or truck, thanks to joyous rebates on select models up to $1,000. You'll find festive discounts and holiday specials all over, with a free gift for you just for visiting them during the holidays.
For the most ho-ho-ho for your dough, it's a Ford, by gosh.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year from everyone at Jack Gosh.
Merry Christmas.
M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. The House of Gold is the headquarters for Seiko Mickey Mouse watches and clocks with prices starting at just $24.95. Ray and Pat invite you to come in anytime and get your jewelry cleaned for free. Let Maria Arnett help you experience the luxurious feeling of gold. Like authentic Black Hills gold jewelry. All styles of earrings are available, including these diamond earrings for only $19.95. The House of Gold creates custom jewelry designs and has a wide variety of exquisite diamond rings at the House of Gold.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett back with you at the Score Presidente Baja 1000, and that is our overall leader, Mark McMillan, adjusting the headlights as darkness fades quickly. Now let's go back to the map one last time to show you where the leaders are. They've completed the loop from Borrego and now back heading west over towards the mountains of Camalú on the western coastline. They'll run up the Pacific Ocean towards the finish, about 250 miles to go, and look at the darkness setting in quickly.
Well, we're getting a look here at number 203, a Toyota-powered Mirage, driven by Lou and Lonnie Peralta, and 510 is the Unlimited Baja Bug entry of Greg Vaughn and Wayne Lee.
And now coming into the pit stop, you can see the lights, and this is one of the pit areas where, if our reports are correct, this should be Steve Kelly coming in for his final stop before heading into the mountains by Mike's Sky Ranch. Now, we show him second in class, about 40 minutes behind Vessels, and there he is getting a drink of water. And we understand Steve was down for a while at San Felipe with a broken drive shaft, but already back underway.
Well, it was none time too soon there for him to get out, because right behind him goes Robbie Gordon, holding on to third place despite that sick engine.
And third place is where he has to finish if he is going to hold on for the championship. Meanwhile, the man in fourth place in the class is Dave Schopp in the General Tire Ford. Now, let's take a second here while some of the other cars go by to give you updates on trouble reports. We understand Walker Evans is now out with a blown engine. Steve McEachern is still running, but he lost over an hour when he ran out of gas about 5 miles from the Borrego pit. Meanwhile, that is the Clawwitter brothers in their pit stop. They are leading in their class, and there is Jack Johnson in Class 4. He is leading. Now, Roger Mears missed a turn and drove into a ditch, tearing up the front end down at Matomi Junction. Meanwhile, this is the pit area, as we told you, of the Clawwitters. They are leading in their class, and again, reports here say that this is Rod Hall coming in to make his final pit stop before heading for the finish line, and yes, it is Rod Hall. So he is now way behind Jack Johnson in the Class 4 battle. Evans is out with a blown engine, and we told you earlier, Manny Esquera has blown his engine, handing the championship in Class 7 to Larry Ragland.
It looks like Rod Hall is back underway now, but obviously he's had some problems. Behind him there, Steve Centuroni and Larry Jobe, they're getting ready to go back out. And now the Clawwitters, leaders in Class 5, are getting underway again. They've got a big lead, and they've just stopped long enough to double check and make sure everything's okay.
Well, this is the final checkpoint at Santo Tomas, 76 miles from here to the finish, and there is the #1 car overall. Mark McMillan still leading at this point. He has got 76 miles to go.
And not too far behind him, Scoop Vessels making what he hopes will be his final stop from now until the finish.
Well, you talk about those lights. He's got about 8 on him, the front of that truck, and he can see for miles. 216, the third vehicle to hit that final checkpoint. That is Bob Gordon, Frank Arciero Jr., and Bob Gordon now behind the wheel. And 200 is the report that we're getting here. Corky McMillan in the Porsche-powered Chenoweth running about 15 minutes behind Bob Gordon. Still has an outside chance in Class 2, but unless Mark McMillan and Scoop Vessels break, Class 2 will finish third overall.
You know, this is the same 4 guys that are running in that position at this race last year at this time. Number 101 here is the Barbary Coast entry, driven by Bud Feldkamp and Ron Gardner, both a couple of dentists from Southern California.
And then another Class 8 truck holding on to second place in Class 8. That is Steve Kelly. He is more than an hour down to Scoop Vessels. But this is the most important position of all. Robbie Gordon. He's lost some lights, but he's in third place.
And he's trying to stay in front of Dave Schopp, whose truck is running strong right on his tail.
Stay with us. We'll be back to the conclusion of the Presidente Baja 1000.
If you've dreamed of the perfect road, we've got the perfect way to drive it. With sure-footed front-wheel drive and 150 fuel-injected turbocharged horsepower, the 1989 Shadow ES Turbo, the new spirit of all-out performance, only from Dodge.
Now get up to $400 cash back on Shadows in stock.
Bob Strange, BF Goodrich test engineer.
The trick to building great all-terrain tires is making them as good off-road as on. All-terrain TAs from BF Goodrich are tested in some of the roughest off-road situations in the world. I believe TA radials are the best performance tires in the world, and I torture them to keep them that way.
BF Goodrich TAs, tested tough to make your truck perform.
Future Olympic champions keep the audience on their feet in a spectacular, fun-filled parade on ice. It's Skate America's Exhibition of Champions, Monday night at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
Marty Reed and Jerry Garrett, we have moved our camera positions to the finish line of the Score Presidente Baja 1000. And this is our overall champion, and it is number 100, Mark McMillan in the Porsche-powered Chenoweth single-seater. 4th win for Mark. and it wraps up his second straight title in Class 1. He covered the 704 miles unofficially in just over 13 hours and 7 minutes. And you can see a very tired but happy Mark McMillan starting to climb out of his car and make his way to the victory podium. Now, believe it or not, these guys will take their time getting out of these vehicles because they have been in these vehicles, as we said, over 13 hours, getting an assist there from SCORE President Sal Fish and another of the workers there, and making his way slowly over. And you can see how gingerly Mark is walking up this podium to receive his victory champagne drink and everything else. Let's go to Jerry Garrett, who has made his way to the podium.
Howdy. Well, Mark, we talked to you after all these races, it seems like, this year. That's not too bad.
No, that's 4 wins this year, 3 overalls, so this has been an excellent, excellent year.
This race obviously went exactly like you planned it.
Well, we planned my dad to have the overall because he had the second starting position, so we really thought he'd be here first, but he had a little wheel bearing problem, but I fell right into position there, so I think
you didn't have any problems at all today, did you?
I didn't have any problems at all. Not a stitch, not one flat tire on my BF Goodriches. I had one fan belt shredded in the pit, but they changed it in the pit, and not a stitch of problems. Didn't get off the road once, just ran smooth.
Our congratulations to Mark. He averaged 53 miles an hour. Now, here comes the checkered flag for Frank Scoop Vessels. He is going to finish second overall. He said all he had to do was win this race and then hope. Well, he has done the first part. Now, all he can do is wait and see if somehow Dave Schopp can overhaul Robbie Gordon for third place. Title or not, though, Scoop Vessels looks happy to have the victory here at the Baja 1000 because last year he fell short right near the end. And you can see, look how stiff he is as he climbs out of that truck. Now, he makes his way to the victory platform, and we'll be able to talk to him. But first off, let's look here. This is Jack Johnson. But look at this truck. What has happened to the 401? The last time we saw it, it had just one ding on the right rear fender. But somehow he has finished ahead of Rod Hall to clinch the title, posting his 4th Class 4 win of the year. Meanwhile, Jerry Garrett is with Scoop Vessels.
A couple of times you threw us a curve because we were following you with the helicopter coming in Nuevo where you had a pit set up and you didn't stop, and that happened a couple of times. Tell us about that.
Well, we had it planned before the race. John did that we wouldn't stop. And a few of those stopped, and yet we told everybody we would. And he didn't tell anybody. I had to drag it out of him myself. He just barely told me. But the idea, of course, is to miss a stop. And also, when you miss a stop, it also shoves a couple people in between you and the other competitors. And I think that going into Tres Pozos, in that wash down there, we shoved about 5 or 6 buggies in between us and McEachern, and I think that won us a race.
Well, meanwhile, Jack Johnson is wiping the dirt off his face. He looks fine, but the Nissan looks a little worse for wear, and Jerry Garrett has made his way to Jack Johnson.
Well, Jack, you had another one of those long, hard days, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a tough one. It wasn't that bad. Early we had some trouble over by Cobuso. I broke the rear drive shaft, and I had to limp for about, probably 40 miles with no rear drive shaft, just with the front drive pulling us along, and I was kind of off the course and just limping along to Tres Pozos, and got a new drive shaft put in it. Picked up the pace again, and things were going pretty good. I was having a pretty good day. Everything was clicking off. Our competition started falling by the wayside, so everything was going well. I got past Camalú, though, and on the way to Santo Tomas this evening, and I must have just faded out because I ran it into a bank and rolled it on its top, which really hurt my feelings a lot to do that. It's my toy. I like to play with it, and I don't like it hurt.
Well, stay with us. We'll be back to find out if Robbie Gordon has captured the championship at the Presidente Baja 1000.
You'll find it at the heart of every Dodge machine competing today. It's on the track and off the road. It's the new spirit of performance.
The new spirit of Dodge! The new spirit of Dodge!
What dry was. Introducing new Michelob Dry Beer. It's brewed longer to start bold, finish clean, and refresh completely. New Michelob Dry. One taste, and you'll drink it dry.
ESPN travels the world to bring you the thrills and excitement of World Cup skiing. From the Alps to the Rockies and beyond, World Cup skiing. Skiing like you've never experienced before. The grace, the speed, the danger. Live on the edge of disaster every week with breathtaking excitement you won't want to miss. Your season pass for World Cup skiing is ESPN.
In the darkness of Ensenada, we can tell you that Robbie Gordon has done it. He finished third in Class 8, and at age 19 is the youngest Class 8 champion. Let's take a look at all the class winners on this year's Score Presidente Baja 1000. Of course, the overall champion in Class 1 is Mark McMillan. The team of Gordon and Arciero with Cal Wells Jr. wins Class 2. Reams and Reams, the winner in Class 1-2 1600.
And my old buddy Don Adams, the champion again in Class 3. Jack Johnson, as we mentioned, in Class 4, and 5 wins this year for the Clowitter brothers.
Boy, they are something to be reckoned with. It'd be interesting to see if they'll move up into a larger class next year. In 5-1600, DeVerselli, Andy and his son, the Moser brothers in Class 6 are the winners. And remember that Class 7 entry we showed you early, the Arambulas? Well, they held on to win the class. Larry Ragland finished second. He still clinches the championship overall because Manny Oscara, of course, broke.
Well, Paul Simon, the winner and season champ in 7S. The same with Mike Leslie in 7 4x4. But Scoop Vessels won the battle but lost the war in Class 8.
And then the winner in Class 9, Mike Leon. In Class 10, Mike Church. And in Class 14, Boone England. Our congratulations to all our winners in this year's Baja 1000. To survive the Baja 1000 is a victory in itself. But, Jerry, as we found out today and tonight, to win it is ultimate triumph.
Well, Marty, as we mentioned at the top of the show, it's the ultimate in this form of racing. To win Baja can salvage an otherwise bad season. And somebody like Mark McMillan, who's won the race 5 times, the glory is just as sweet the 5th time.
We hope you've enjoyed our full season of Score and HDRA races. We'll be back again next year. We hope you'll join us then. For Jerry Garrett, I'm Marty Reed. So long for now. Today's race is brought to you by VF Goodrich TAs and the new all-weather comp TA. Goodrich TAs, we make your car perform. And by Quaker State Motor Oil, the big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light. Special thanks to Larry Ray, Spirit Racing and Sign World of San Diego. On the left, Larry Ragland, the man who would be king. Each has won 3 times to turn the points race into a head-to-head confrontation in the final race of the year. On the left, Scoop Vessels, and this is 19-year-old Robbie Gordon. One of them will take home the Class 8 title at the Presidente Baja 1000. And Jack Johnson on the left, Rod Hall on the right, likewise will decide the long wheelbase 4-wheel drive championship in the finale of the 1988 HDRA Score season. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports, presents Speed World. Today, from Ensenada, Mexico, it is the Presidente Baja 1000. Today's race is brought to you by VF Goodrich TAs and the new all-weather comp TA. Goodrich TAs, we make your car perform. And by Quaker State Motor Oil. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will. And by Dodge Cars and Trucks. When it's got to be right, it's got to be a Dodge. Football has the Super Bowl, baseball has the World Series. And in the sport of off-road racing, it is the Score Presidente Baja 1000. Hello again, everybody. I'm Marty Reed, working alongside with Jerry Garrett. And Jerry, people may or may not be familiar with the sport of off-road racing around the country, but it seems like everybody knows about the Baja.
Well, it has international fame, and deservedly so. This is a rough, tough, mean race, and if you've won the Baja, you can really say something, and that's attracted every serious racer in the country to this event.
3 major points championships are at stake today, as well as some of those international teams being here for the first time.
Well, since it does attract such interest all over the world, we're not surprised to see people here from 6 different countries, including a team from Russia this time.
We also have an all-female team in Class 14. Now, the course the competitors will be facing this weekend starts here in Ensenada and then heads across the peninsula toward the Gulf of California.
About a third of the way along, it turns south and makes a loop from Borrego down to San Rafael, and then through the Matomi Wash. Northward, it goes into San Felipe and back